I understand to wish to proceed. Ein Second. So the video hat 18.000 views, ein Tag zurück. Dus ich verstehe, ja, this is the cult leader. Hold on. Brandsdorfer van Live Tour was his toit. Thank God that it toit. And this is a Tochter, was redt, I guess. Und man geht durch eine Story. Ich hab ein Stückel Sache, was man mir gesagt von dem, als sie sich säußer ein bisschen in der Mitte. So, just wanted to give that. Shmuel. Hello and welcome. Is this live a daily thing? Yes. Monday, 8:45 at night. Usually Nana's I get in the free. Wednesdays are off at night. Handnacht happens to be nicht du kann live, weil ich habe a gig. Busy. So, kann ich machen das. Let's get into it.
Something by force when she was allergic to it, and she died in front of her kids.
What is the age that they married all boys and girls?
I was already engaged by 12 with 11.
By 12?
Yeah, with 11-year-old. And my father tied me up with like...
Hold on, ich kann nicht the beginning Sachen. Hat a fine editor, I give you that. Oh, macht auch Zahlen, okay. All right, let's get into it. What's a gig? A fancy Weg von sagen a JOB.
This show, and I didn't know that it's gonna happen, and I'm very, very, very happy that she came up and she said, I will, and I want to talk, and a lot of people, a lot of channels tried getting me to talk about my life and stuff, and I didn't feel that I can talk, but at this point, I'm ready to share my life and to open everything I went through, and this is your time. Welcome, Neo, Nechama.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you came, and I'm looking for...
Is there some beef going on there? What do you mean? And so funny, unser halb mal Podcast sagen, als öffentlicher Platz, so reden, wenn interviewt hier. But it's okay.
For this conversation. And how are you, first of all? How do you feel?
I'm good, and I'm feeling a little nervous.
Ja, ich kann sehen, auf wie Weg, wie sie stretched, as he's nervous.
So the nervous part, you can chill.
Colorful Shots haben wir ein Member, Brooklyn, hat gekauft ein Membership, and I guess die ist es bekommen. Sie arbeitet randomly.
Relax. Nobody is here to judge you. People are listening to us and watching us. They want to know. They're dying to know what is this left to harm. And it's an interesting topic that people want to hear, and especially when it comes from first hand.
My name is Neo. My Hebrew name is Nechama. I'm 27 years old, and I've been hiding where I come from all my life, and I never opened up to therapy and to help because I don't like to feel like people pity me. Like I was trying to go for therapy here and there, and I didn't feel like they're able to help me. I felt like I went through too much for somebody to be able to understand me. And no matter how much I'm gonna explain myself, people will not get what I went through.
A therapist is not supposed to get what you went through. A therapist is supposed to control you if you want to work on something, to guide you, not to actually understand you. Come here. Sit down. Down. Good girl.
Abuse was so high and intense.
Let's start from the beginning. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Muncie, right after my father came out of prison, after he did a kidnap of Yishai Fimi. You heard the story?
I'm not so familiar, but I know a little bit about it.
I was born to my mom that was already not well from going through all this.
Okay. So your dad was in jail where? In New York?
My dad was in jail for 2 years in New York.
Okay.
And then he moved to Canada himself, and he left my mom with the kids here. And then after I lived in Canada for...
Why did he go to Canada?
I'm not sure. I never went into the story. I barely knew I didn't know everything because I was born into everything.
Into the mess.
I was born into a very mess. Like my older siblings were already married when I was born and had kids, and they were already settled. They had normal parents, but I was born into the broken mess.
Where did the cult started?
It started in Muncie.
Okay.
And when I was 4, my father moved for 2 years. He lived in Canada for I don't know how
Why
long.
did he go to Canada?
He was hiding from the government. I'm not sure what the
Okay.
story was. My mother joined him after, and I was 4. I don't remember exact details because I
Fine,
was
you were young,
little.
right.
And then I lived in Canada up to age 15.
So in Canada, he started also bringing over his people and his...
Yeah, people joined him over there. Once
Slowly,
my mom
more and
came,
more every year.
Yeah, and once my mom came, everyone like joined him slowly. It was nothing comparing to what's going on now. My father held it in control.
What means he held it in control?
There was a lot of abuse for the kids, but we had normal houses. Everyone had $1 million house over there. We had money.
Canada?
Yeah, everyone had a built home from scratch. We had money for
Who gave
groceries.
him? Who gave him money?
We got money from the government for kids. Programs for kids. My father had like a big agenda against my mom. He hated my mom with all her guts for all she is. So he took me away from my mom when I was. I'm not gonna talk about my sister. Me and my sister. I had a sister. She passed away 4 years older than me. He took us away from my mom, and he put me from house to house.
Where in Canada?
In Canada by random people from the cults.
Why? He didn't want you to live with him?
He told these people to continuously beat me up.
Physically?
No matter if I was good or bad. He was like 24/7. They were like, just take off your clothes and beat you up.
So you think that...
Wow. Uns gaan wir das also ist mal rüberfahren, take off your clothes and beat you up.
You lived with him in Canada and he told people...
And by the way, is again a cult leader, so hat nicht ganz Zeit für seine Kinder das weggeben, but hat gesagt, uns zu hacken, nackt. That's like an interesting...
My mom and my dad, since I was born, I never seen them in the same house. That's why I'm always questioning if they're my parents. Because once I joined Canada with my mom, I was taken away by my mom, and they lived in 2 separate houses. My father...
In Canada at the cult, they had... Shlomo, your father, had one house, your mother a different house, and you lived between other houses.
Other houses, yeah.
Okay, and why did he do that?
He was beating up my mom constantly in front of me. I once saw my mom like with the bleeding hand in the middle of the
Gemeinsam gewohnt bei der zweiten.
street, and
people knew about it in the
people
cult?
knew about
Or
it.
he
My
was hiding
mom
it?
was like the worst person in the cult because she didn't want to follow the rules, and he constantly kept
Her own husband.
he constantly kept abusing her and hurting her and like beating each other up, breaking each other's bones. My mom was every other day hospitalized for missing parts of her. Everything, like one day she lost a finger, one day she broke her arm.
From your father?
My father used
Und wenn die Geister an in der Hospital und die hast verloren nach Finger, nicht du kein Reports? Usually do reports.
to beat her up because he was busy with other women and he didn't want to have. And I wasn't able to look at my mom. I wasn't able to have contact with my mom from I was 4 years old, and I only met her at age 18. And I didn't see her.
Really?
I wasn't allowed to have contact with her.
I'm trying...
So wie der andere, was aan het laufen von Left Tour, die denk nicht an Nummer von Canada, wohnt in Canada. Hat auch gesucht als much a Teil der Family. Das ist eine gute Strategy, du bist ein Cult Leader.
To get it straight, your father's friends, I mean his Hasidim, took you and beat you up. Why did he tell you to beat you up?
According to what I didn't know my father like thoroughly well because I didn't live not with my father, not with my mother. I was able to meet him once in 4 weeks, and if I missed that minute of meeting him, it was once in 8 weeks. According to what I said, my father had like an agenda with me where he played mind fucking games with me that I'm not good enough and
You're not worth it?
I'm not worth it, and if I'm gonna be like this other girl, then he's gonna meet me more, and if I'm gonna cut my nails shorter, or if I'm gonna look prettier, or if I was white, and if I was blonde, and he constantly had agendas why he didn't like me. And let's say I did dress more modest as he wanted to and followed his lead with all this.
Dress the whole...
I did.
Listen, is gewesen ein Monster. Meint, sie machen ein Cult in sie teilen Family, sie gewesen ein Monster. So it's not like, oh, du geht man stoppen, like, oh, das ist nicht möglich. But the beating up part, suchen für andere, nackt, how do you even convey such a message? Versus, ja, schlug ihr, wenn sie nicht geht.
Yeah,
You had the whole thing?
I had all that.
So what
And
age?
I kept up like kind of making it fancy and kind of when nobody saw in my room, I kind of took it off and I constantly fought with him that I don't like it and I don't want it. And he told me he's not going to meet me and he threatened me that I'm not meeting his standards. And he told me that he didn't like to have a Sephardi girl, daughter. I'm so tired.
So let's talk about this one a second. So who is Sephardic in your family?
So my mom is Moroccan. My mom was born into Moroccan parents. My father Shlomo's background is Spanish, from Spain.
Spain. Okay,
I'm
and
fully
Hat nicht lieb gehabt sein eigener das. Wollte oben weiße Haar, huh? Blaue Augen. Für wie kann man das, also Sache?
Sephardic, but he was imagining to have like blonde girls, and he was always telling me that I'm too dark and
he didn't like
I'm
you?
black.
Based on your color?
Based on my
Your own
color,
color.
yeah. And I'm always
Racist.
told that I'm fat, and I had a
Okay.
scary eating disorder. Like if you saw me eating by like a dinner table with Shabbat, once in a half a year, you saw me, you just constantly tell people to take away my food because I was fat and not supposed to eat, and you made it obvious. And what the interesting part is, the women are supposed to sing by the Shabbat table, Zmiras, you know,
Right.
and the men are supposed to serve. That was opposite because I know all the Zmiras. I used to sing it with my
What
father.
do you mean? That's a little bit interesting. From one side, they're very like, the girls need to be hit, they need to be high, nobody needs to see them or whatever. From the other side, they sing.
So
Kolbe issue is not an issue?
I don't know. I kept telling my father, like, there's so many other men that's serving you, and I'm not supposed to sing. I wasn't supposed to. Nobody's supposed to raise their voice, and they speak low, and they have to walk with the hunch. If you don't walk with the hunch, you get beaten.
Man darf das interviewen mit, darf das reviewen mit, wie heißt der von Canada, der junge Mann? they bucher, whatever. Was is not laufen for left to it?
Not because you have Gava or whatever. It was like, so my father made sure that every 2 weeks I'm by other family. I went from Rosnet to Blom to Goldman to Morgenstern again and again, a rotation back and forth. I wasn't allowed to see my family. I wasn't allowed to see my mom. Sometimes I used to see my mom on the streets with a half open head with gushing blood.
Oh, beter. Mandy Levy, ja. Hast du gesehen, dass Mama reinwagen mit gushing blood, weil sie nicht reingewagt. Aber ich verstehe, was sie meint, abusive.
Smelt her or pick her up or say something like it's gonna be fine. If I would
Support or whatever.
then I would get punished for that, like for years. So basically, they treat kids with no emotions like a robot, and they take them from family to family, constantly make sure that I didn't grow up in a tent and I didn't grow up with no food, and we grew up vegan. We never had protein.
That's, by the way, a rule, no?
Even till now, I cannot eat proteins. I eat a little proteins and I get really sick because my body's.
That's what you used to.
I'm not used to it.
Your entire life.
When I was 9
Ah, come on. Sie esst nicht. Sie kriegt das, wie sie esst. She fine.
years old, I went to my father. I said, I'm gonna give him hell. I told him so many times, this person is beating me up. Told him, Father, I'm dying. I felt like I really need love. Like I felt like I'm going from family to family.
Macht Sense. Jeder Kind will love. Will feel a part von us. Loved, cherished, important. Das ist, was a Tata darf tun. A Tata Mama darf tun sein Kind. Machen feeling important.
And they constantly keep beating me up. Like
At that point, you understood that your father is doing all this, or you didn't understand that he's the one telling them to beat you up?
I did understand that it comes from my father because he kept telling me, I don't know, oh, they're hitting you. I'm gonna call them not to hit you. But they told me that my father sent them to hit me. I constantly
That's confusing. But usually Menschen in cults willen hoger hoben Menschen inter sei, weil keiner will nicht an the low von der cult, right?
to walk. There was no cars over there. Nobody had a car, and it was like we lived like in a country. So from one house to another was like 2 hours, 3 hours to walk, but it's like a straight up mountain. I used to walk to my father in Canada. There's a lot of snow, especially in Quebec, Saint Agathe, where I grew up. I used to walk to my father in the snow for like 3-4 hours with torn shoes, and he wouldn't open the door for me. He would make me wait all day in the snow, and then when I came to his door, he says he didn't open the door. And then when I got back to the family.
So gegangen zu der Tier oder nicht gegangen zu der Tier? What's happening?
After a whole day walking, they used to beat me up because I wasn't even allowed to talk to my dad.
They controlled even.
If she wasn't allowed to go to her dad and her dad didn't open up the door, why did she keep going?
You, as his daughter,
No.
if you can talk to him or not talk to
I couldn't
him.
even tell my dad that I'm getting beat. I felt like I was gonna die, and I kept running. When I
Hat sie nicht früh gesucht, als sie gesucht für die Tate, als sie wird beat up und die Tate gecallt und sie haben gesucht, als die Tate gesucht, sie schlugen?
turned 9, I decided I'm gonna start causing trouble. When somebody
Again, ich will nicht wegmachen, gut nicht, wo sie hat gelitten. Ich bin sicher, dass nicht gewinnt geht. Und ich sehe die Members jetzt, die Cults, mit den alle Sachen, and it's terrible. So ich will nicht echt wegnehmen, sagen, als sie hat nicht gelitten or anything. I feel for her, you know. A human being, ihr Tate ist a cult leader, und Mama gewinnt ganzen abused, und sie ist herumgejumpt von family zu family, und die einzige Sache, was sie gewollt, ist love. She couldn't get it. Und mit, you know, ich habe sie gemacht, jede Sache von ihr. Terrible, terrible. I'm glad he's dead.
hit me, I ran to my father. It took me 3 hours to run. I walked in the snow with torn shoes, and I came to my father's door. He didn't want to open, and I kept seeing women. I don't know if he cheated on my mom, but I kept seeing tons of women surrounding his. He had like a
His own
house,
house.
and they
course
kept
he
running
did.
out, and he didn't want to open the door for his daughter, but he was busy with other women. So
Right. What was his power to be able to have this cult happening? What is his power?
I'm thinking the same thing. I don't know because he comes from a very, very secular, normal, non-religious family where they were extremely rich.
So let's dive into your father's life a little bit just to understand him. We have a long time to talk, so let's try to understand who's your father. Where did he grow up? What kind of family? How did it all happen?
He had parents in Jerusalem, ultra rich.
He was born in Jerusalem.
Yeah, so a mother that only was able to have one kid.
Okay.
She only had him. She spoiled him to death. He was like a spoiled child. He grew up with a dog. They wouldn't keep him any religion.
He was not religious.
Not religious.
Till
and
what age?
Till age 16. My
De Balachivas zijn de ergste. Oh ja, ja. Jetzt verstehe ich schon 50% von der Situation.
grandmother said that they kidnapped him from school in Israel, and they abused him there for years. And then he came out. And
So let's who kidnapped them?
years ago, there was a style in Israel to take kids from modern schools and somebody like take them into like a facility or something and to, like brainwash them. That was they did to my mom too.
So the brainwashing in terms of what? To become religious?
Yeah, because my father really didn't know anything about religion. They didn't keep anything growing up.
So at what age they kidnapped him?
16.
16 they kidnapped him and he came out of this place out of
But
what age?
he met my mom
Nachi sei comfortable.
in the same place.
Ich bin sicher, das ist brilliant. Ich meine, die kennst du schon mal Cult. Nicht an Klieg, in a sense. Izzy is going to the dentist, all right? Zoek
Okay.
at age 18.
Okay, and then they were both religious when they came out of this place?
They were both starting very, very slowly, like looking back at the pictures when my mother had my other older siblings. My siblings are much older than me. My older brother is already almost 50.
Wow. So they're 18 years old, your father and your mother live in Israel. They became religious.
My mom was already in her high 30s when she came to New York.
Oh, wow. So he lived for a good while in Israel. Did he start having already people Hasidim in Israel, or this whole cult got created in New York?
He did target a lot of Iraqi, Syrian, Moroccan. There's a lot of
Vulnerable
Middle Eastern
people.
Jews.
And he got them in already starting in Israel. He started this whole situation, and you don't know what triggered him
I don't
to do
know
it.
because I never fell for his shit. When I was 9, I told him I'm not doing this, and I started playing games with him. I started being eating disorder, and I started making myself extremely physically sick.
Aber was ist nicht entlaufen?
And then I decided I'm gonna just pay back for him. And when I was 11, I started really going back and forth to the hospital.
When did you realize, at what age did you realize that your father is not a typical dad and he's a different kind of man?
When I was 10.
Did you know already at that point that he's a cult leader? Or you didn't understand what a cult means?
I knew there was a world out there because next to Quebec, there was a country from, I think, Tosh or something.
Okay, right.
And they kept coming to visit with their cars, and they looked so good. And I kept trying to hint them to take me with them. And they kept saying, they felt very bad for me. They saw that I was really hurting inside. And I kept giving them hints to take, I wanted to run away with
That was my next question. Were you allowed having communications with outsiders?
No. I wasn't able, I didn't have a phone. I wasn't able to take their number, but I kept looking after them, and I was being super nice. And
Trying to get somehow...
I wanted to escape. It took me from I was like 9 till 13 to escape. It's like a long, it's you cannot escape a cult. You know what I'm saying? If you escape the cult, they take away your will to live just by wanting to escape.
That's crazy. What about sexual abuse in this community? In this left tour, there's so many stories. Is it true?
I did hear from
Just bei der Cycheldige wird mir gesagt, das ist true. Just als es geschehen bei Non-Cults, obviously ist es geschehen bei Cults. So man darf reingehen mehr, ist es geschehen zu dir?
people. I'm not talking about people that left now, but people from my times. I'm talking about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I have a couple of friends that I keep in touch with. I consider them still normal because they didn't go through the Guatemala,
Right, we'll get
whatever.
there later, right.
So they were telling me stories what my father did to them sexually, and it kind of makes sense because he was always trying to pull me to come to his bed with him. My father.
Really?
He was always trying
Jeez.
to push me into his room to come sit with him in his bed, and I constantly said no. That's
Oder sie gewohnt bei anderen, oder ist sie gegangen zu ihm daheim? How is that? At what age? Is it? Hat sie nicht gesagt, dass vielleicht eine Rippen schicken zu anderen Hasen?
wait. I kept like running away, and he kept pulling me into his bed. And what happened is that when I was 8 years old.
Einer wird der Zeit sein weitergehen, ich du sag, wie soll es sein? What do you mean? Of course there is. Als sie sagt, dass sie Tat hat weggeschickt, sie gegangen zu anderen Hasen, und nachdem getreit heranzuschleppen im Bett, I would think it's Säuser. Nicht da wegzumachen, als er nicht gewollt oder getreit. Because, you know, als geschehen bei non-cult leaders, obviously geschehen das in a cult.
I played with a girl. They told my father about it.
You played with a girl sexually?
Yeah.
You're 8 years old, okay.
Or even younger.
With a different girl?
Yeah,
Okay.
a girl that I really,
Two
really
kids?
liked. Yeah.
Okay.
And they told my father
How does she even know? Who told her?
about it. And my father tied me up with like
And why would she tell her father?
100 gartlach.
Right.
Like my hands, my feet, like put stuff in my mouth and just, I was butt naked and beat me up.
Ich lache in der Schoß, just. Wo ist der Bot naked? Sag. Patch geht nicht durch die Häusen?
My private parts for hours until I passed out. I don't remember
Himself doing it?
He did it on me. I don't know.
No, I'm asking, was anybody there?
He had like gaboom that watched.
That you watched it?
Yeah.
And they saw him beating up his own kid, butt naked, in front of them for hours until you passed out.
I remember I just remember
up.
it was so
So-
painful until I saw black, and I don't remember after what happened, but I knew it was really painful because I
So you started saying about your friends that told you that your father sexually assaulted them.
I don't believe everything I don't
hear?
have vision, but when they started talking to me about it, I was never ready to talk against my own father because it's still my blood. Like,
Yeah.
but recently
Yeah.
I have a very close friend that I'm speaking to from the cult that actually
out
Didn't
of
have
the
the
pants.
guy, the friend my
Go
age,
back.
and we grew up in the same house,
Clothing,
the
I
same
meant to
building.
say.
And we kept in touch all the years. And he told me, he kept telling me stuff my father did to him. I was never ready to face fact that my father was such a bad person. And when somebody talked to me about my father, I used to be angry at them. He talked to me
Very
about
normal.
my own blood, like talk to me about my blood, like talk to somebody else about it because it's hurting me. Like I can't feel it.
Makes
hurt.
sense.
But
Makes
what did
sense.
this friend that you're in touch with told you about your
He
father?
told me very scary stories, and I don't know what my father did to him, and he made it sound.
She's scared. She's scared of us. Miss Stampfin need eigene Pain and Cezanne publicly in herausgeben. MCETS. Hello and welcome. Scheint dir zu sein. This is Nachi Yavo's channel. Het interview du Tochter von a cult leader von Left Tour, von Hellbrand. Is schon tot. Thank goodness. But the cult is still going on, and sie is aufgewachsen in the cult vor Guatemala. So, sie erzählt ihr aufwachsen dich.
So real that when he started talking, I noticed the way he pulled him into bed and stuff. It was the same pattern that he was trying to do with me.
So at this point now,
I don't let myself.
right, but at this point you believe him that it happened?
Yeah,
So
of
you
course.
think that he did it and with boys and girls? Or
Why
you think
not?
that sexually assaulted, I don't know if he did, but he definitely beat her. I heard, he beat her up people, but
I heard back
Nachi Yavo is a left-door escapee? Nein. No. Not that I know of. I think, I don't know. I don't think he's, ich meine, er ist Israeli. Ich meine, er hat gut mit left-door. Could be, but I don't think so. Favos, weil jetzt left-door is on the chopping block jetzt, weil man sei arrested, man das, man ziehen mit den Kindern. Yes, it can auch bringen views, so win-win situation.
way too many stories. I'm like, die ganze Welt ist Michigan. I hear stories from Israel.
By the way, is von Wilhelmsburg, der macht mich jetzt. Sein Tate kann sagen, lernen. Sit. Sein Tate is actually as if he is a Dayan or something. Gewähnt a Dayan. Now it's coming back.
A woman called me that my father and my brother slept with them one night. And then I spoke to, there's a doctor, a very big doctor in Guatemala that took care of my sister before she passed away. The whole thing, they were trying to shock her.
Right.
And then she was saying that she was checking the woman over there and they have bruised in their private parts. Like,
Is she Rolinski? Rolinski? I have no idea. Ich weiß nicht, wie sie heißt. Sie heißt, Helfbrands Tochter.
critically bruised up and beaten up. They looked like they were attacked. Little girls. So not the ganze
But ich verstehe nicht, haben sie nicht gehabt, a private doctor dort herumkommen?
Welt. I was trying to
Weil a doctor darf reporten die Sachen.
live in denial and thinking, no, I don't want to think this vision on my
you
dad.
didn't want to believe that your dad did these things.
So I was
Yeah,
going to say that
makes
this
sense.
guy, that he was telling me very serious that how he molested kids and all, the whole story, it's very, very deep. And I kept being mad at him. I didn't want to talk to him. I was like, don't talk to me about my dad. But then when he spoke to me yesterday, he changed my whole vision. He's like, it's not your dad. He birthed you and he left you and he dumped you
Exactly.
and he continues to hurt you. That's called a dad. If
That's
I have
not
a kid
called a
and I
dad.
dump her in the dumpster and I make everyone hurt her, that's not called a dad.
No, you don't need to feel any.
You don't have the title. It's not a title of a dad, but
The fact that you were born by him doesn't mean if the guy did things like that, I'm not your therapist.
Call me. Good morning.
So I'm just a person having a conversation with you, but my perspective is feel free to share whatever you
Favos kaufst das nicht, Brooklyn. I'm not saying everything like down to the detail, maybe, but as a geschehen in a regular community, it's geschehen by the Christians, by the Jews, by the Muslims. Favos soll das nicht geschehen in a tight-knit community. It just makes sense.
feel, and if you did bad things and you feel you want to share it, you can say it, and nobody's judging. The opposite people want to know.
Nicht nur mit Judge nicht, man darf hören die Sachen. Man darf auch rausgeben, thank you Nachi für machen den Channel. In haben ein Interview mit der Sache, man darf hören, man darf die sehen. Man kann nicht kaufen alles exactly, but it's definitely geschehen.
Because we all know, and you agree, and everybody agrees that your father did a lot of bad things. Forget about
Yes.
sexually. Sexually is another subject.
Yeah.
And you being
Nachi
his
is
daughter,
good. Nachi
opening
Yavo
up
is good.
and saying stuff and live witness from things that happened, it's totally fine. And don't be afraid or scared about talking these topics. Do you have any kind of fear in the fact that you open a conversation against your father or against the cult? Do you fear any like that something's gonna happen to you?
I'm not scared that anything gonna happen. I do have a very curious brother that stalks me on my social medias. He goes on
Is
my
he religious or not?
he's religious, but he's very open-minded, and he's just a
He's
regular
not in the
regular
cult.
chussid,
Okay.
a regular chussid that somebody forwards him all my
Okay, and what's the issue as am Brider Zetas?
Instagram post.
Instagram posts, appropriate or not, and he's stalking me, but he's not in touch with me. And if he's gonna see me talking against my dad, because he still believes that my dad was a good person.
I don't understand. If he knows also, I believe that at this
He
point.
feels what my family feels is that when my dad was in control, was still in control. Once my father died and my brother took over, that's when all the shit happened.
How many siblings are you?
Na, das ist geworden ärger. Usually geht das the second in command, wenn wird first in command, darf nehmen the reins, you know, und wenn man nimmt the reins, darf man 10 Sachen ärgere Sachen. Man soll wissen, wer der Babus ist.
We had 6 and my sister passed away, so now we're 5.
Okay. All of them are left the cult.
I have one brother in jail, and his kids are there. My sister that passed away, her husband has the kids over
So
there.
your brother that's in jail is still in the cult. I guess he's the cult
He's the
leader
cult
now.
leader, yeah.
Right. So the rest they're out already, and they left somehow. I don't know how you ran away. We got there later too. But how are they feeling about the place? What is your sister's brother? Whoever you talk to, what are they saying about?
They love my father. They feel like my father was a tzaddik and was so no matter how much my
Jeez.
father beat my mother up, my mother
They saw it,
my
also.
mother went around from house to house breaking windows. She took out a tzigel. What's it say?
Right,
A brick.
brick.
She took bricks and broke people's windows to try and schlep out her kids because she knew that his
It makes
kids were
sense.
being tortured in the buildings, and she
other
still believed that my father was a good person. Tate was a tzaddik. Tate was a good person, and if
You should just know, wie brainwashed man kann werden. Aber man kann dadurch an die alle Sachen und noch als dein Brain kann sagen, er gibt ein Mensch. Alright? Just saying.
I would talk and
Heavy mental abuse.
now that he died, she feels so guilty that she fought with him, but she doesn't even realize what he did to her.
Where is she now?
She is a nursing assistant for elderly people from the Malchoma. She takes care of them for
She's
like
no
9
longer there.
No, she works. We left at the same time.
So your entire family but one brother left. Everybody is out.
I have some nieces and nephews over there, yeah, a lot.
Family members. What is the age that they married off boys and girls?
I was already engaged by 12 with 11.
By 12?
Yeah, with 11-year-old.
You were 12 years old, engaged to an 11-year-old boy.
De gartel heb ik nooit, maar de gartel heb ik
Okay, de Gartelsache nicht kann Sach in Zisogen Aschidach, nicht hat sie gerecht, aber Zisogen Aschidach ist nicht dasselbe wie Chassane Hum. Consummating a marriage.
You're 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old.
My sister had a baby by 14.
Okay, 1 second. I want to focus on you now because
Schwester gaat a baby by the 14. Man darf sie alle hargen an, erst.
I want to get in detail over here. They took kids
In a
11 and 12, which is sick. It doesn't
Relax,
make any
nicht
sense.
in
I
a
want to tell you why
literal
they did it,
way.
because all the kids are being tortured over there from family. A lot of kids did have the privilege to live with their parents, but there's a lot of kids that have been thrown around and stuff. So marriage means they're going to have their own house, and they're going to be ausgereist, and they're going to stop being tortured and hit. So once you're married, I was dying to get married just so I can have my own house.
Okay,
I
that
can live
makes
with a
sense.
boy, and I'm not going to be hit, and I can be in charge of my own life.
When you were 11.
I was dying for love, so I was thinking I'm going to love my partner, I'm going to have kids. You know, if you don't get love, you want to give love. If you can't give love, you're just, you know what I'm saying?
Who came to you or to the other kid, to your whatever, and told you guys what to do in bed? When you say engaged and getting married, does it mean having sex, I guess?
But I was 12.
So consummating a marriage, that's the difference between Zisogen a marriage. Back in the day fliegt man Zisogen marriages, man gewiss, dass die Meidl von die Sucher, but wenn sie werden älter, so this is a question.
And who told them about sex?
I don't know exactly that point, because that's where the point where my father was playing games with me, and I took revenge on him at that point. I did.
But do you know that these kids had sex with each other?
I know that my sister had a baby by 14.
So
I know there was kids of parents with before, right after the bar mitzvah, whatever.
That's fucked up.
It's abuse.
Yes. Oh, just imagine.
That's pedophile, that's whatnot.
But you understand the picture, what they're thinking, that once you're...
I understand. I understand the kids that saying, okay, let me get married by 11, by 9.
To get
But the kind of abuse they're going through their entire life.
They're ready. I was fully ready, more than I'm ready now. I was ready for 10 kids then, because I was so...
You just give me my freedom, give me back my own. I want to have my own house and let me do my shit. I don't want to be, tortured by other people.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
Okay, was there any kind of marriage
Terrible.
forced? Meaning to say they took, okay, you are getting married.
All of it.
So this whole thing that you told me 11, 12,
It
whatever.
wasn't even a say. They set you up and you get married.
So basically, who's
like
that? Your father?
Yeah,
Your father says, Moishi and
Danula.
Leah, you two are getting married, case closed, there's no conversations?
There's no, you don't even know who the boy, you don't know who you think is. It's like Malka with this and that. It's like, see, either Rosa, Malka, and Goldman. The whole cult is like a small family, all cousins. Like, it's marrying cousins, basically.
The story is insane, and let's continue.
That's why I don't open up, because people get attracted from me. It's like just a story. I'm just telling you what happened, and I kind of detached my feelings from it. So I'm just telling you what happened. I feel like people get so overwhelmed. I used to go to therapy, and my therapist would sit and cry. She's like, I can't take the pain. I'm like, you're making me weak. I'm strong. I'm telling you how I feel, and you tell me I can't take
See the wrong therapist. Family B, hello and welcome. Sie gangen to the wrong therapist. Simple.
pain. I'm hurting people.
If I wusste, sie gegangen to therapy, if she moved on, why did she bring it up? If I would darf sie is suchen for the therapist, dass sie is totally okay.
You're used to it. You have so
It's
much.
something that happened to me. It's not like people are like, it's like I hear something happen to somebody's kid, I would also get all emotional. It's something that happened to me, and I detached already from it.
So you didn't end up marrying off this guy. That's what you said, right?
Thank
You left. I
God.
don't know what it means, how you did it. I mean, this whole thing is mind-blowing, the way that you're saying 11 and 12 got engaged, and I don't know what it means you left the engagement. I don't even understand.
My favorite part about the whole cult of me being there is how I took the strength to hurt back my father, and I decided enough. The way I left, and the
Were
way
you
Good.
getting there already? At what age?
at age 10, I completely stopped eating. Completely stopped eating.
Sorry for that.
And I completely stopped sleeping. It's very interesting how I stopped. A person can go weeks and
What
weeks
do you
without
mean?
sleeping. I used to take
Hello.
a small, how to say, chinik?
Yeah.
Weeks without sleeping, that's not true. We can't go weeks without sleeping.
And a bottle of coffee in my cabinet. I knew that the only reason I'm going to be able to get away from my dad is get to the hospital and tell them all the abuse that's going on. Because like,
If someone says it happened. No, not true. But me kick the statistics. Ob sie geschehen in open society, obviously sie geht es geschehen sach mehr in a closed society. Me kickt auch auf andere societies, andere cults, und man sagt, oh, it's similar stories. Must be this. Kann man es unnehmen as there is some sense of truth.
towards shit.
Nobody, anything you're saying to anybody is going right away to your father hates you.
Yeah, and then you're getting more abuse, and you get more beaten up, and more
Right.
malchus.
Only an outsider.
Right.
And the hospital is the best.
So I took a chinik in my room with a bottle of coffee, and through the night
Come
I
here.
kept drinking and drinking.
Come
I
here.
stopped sleeping
Sit.
for 3 weeks, and my father started being involved. He gave me a bottle of 40 melatonin. He
Whoa.
opened up each capsule, put it honey with water, and asked people to stuff into my mouth so I shouldn't have to go to the hospital.
Because he didn't
Because
want
he
to-
knew
he
that
was
was the
afraid,
end of,
right.
he knew that I want to take revenge on him.
Right.
I told my father, I need love. I am dying.
So gewiss, als man geht to the hospital, so is our mama gegangen to the hospital, dort hat man es nicht gestoppt?
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this lifestyle. I feel like if I'm staying here, I'm gonna die. And he kept ignoring me. I said, can you at least marry me? He said, tomorrow.
Can you at least
I was
marry
10
me?
years old, and he kept playing with my nerves.
So you treat
Yitzi _S, hello. Good morning.
was by the 10 years old to get married.
All my friends were married, and I wasn't. So I decided I'm going to play revenge. I didn't sleep and I didn't eat, and I kept going back and forth to the hospital from one special. My father started joining to the hospital. He told the hospital, my baby daughter used to look in the mirror, used to look into the window and watch me, what I'm doing when he's not there. He used to say, my baby daughter. And I was so upset. I was like, I'm not his baby daughter. He doesn't even know me. And suddenly when I'm
He
sick.
abuses you, not only doesn't know you.
Yeah,
He gets
and
me
then
he sends me
he used to
around.
come and visit me and trigger me. And I used to, every time he used to come visit me, I used to see that he's touching me sexually and fucking me. I don't know what he's. I used to see my father touching me. So it's like flashbacks I don't remember happening. So
But you have flashbacks. Where is that? Where?
I had flashbacks in the hospital. I was in a facility to see why I'm not sleeping, why I'm not eating.
And over
I had
there
a
you got
heartbeat.
flashbacks.
C'est interessant, dass dort hat sie nicht gerät zu a therapist. Usually a therapist kommt heran, so was hat sie nicht gerät zu a therapist dorten?
Every time he came to visit me,
Same.
I had flashbacks that he's physically and sexually touching me. I used to be
Makes
tied up.
sense.
I used to be injected shots because I was very, very wild. I was not able to accept the fact that my father touched me. And he kept showing up continuously. And I told him, I want.
You don't remember, you said earlier that you don't remember, you remember he tried getting you into bed, but
I don't remember details. I'm very blocked out. I don't remember.
It makes
feel
sense.
that it actually happened.
When he came close to me, I felt it and I've seen it. I've saw it visually like flashback. Maybe I was seeing things, but I don't know. I don't remember.
The fact that you need to see things like that is also, it's enough to be enough traumatized from this.
And he kept saying, my baby girl, and then I kept making restraining orders against him.
1 second, how long were you in the hospital?
Very long. I had.
What? Sie gemacht restraining orders, de cops haben gut nicht gesucht, man hat gut nicht aufgepickt, man hat gut nicht gemacht. Sie kann Therapist, a case. Wieso machst du ein restraining order? Und die alle Sachen. Wenn du machst ein restraining order, fragen sie dich, was? Und du bist ein Kind. I don't know. Seems a bit...
Of a 98-year-old. They told me I had no food, no sleep. I was fed through my nose for like a year.
You were in the hospital for such a long time?
With 9-year-olds that are dying, that neglect was like... I was in a wheelchair. I was like... I got myself so sick for them to notice that I'm trying to escape.
You tried talking to them after a week or two when you were in the hospital? Did you try at least tell them what you're going through?
I felt so bad for my father because he came and cried. And he says, I'll do anything for my daughter. My daughter's sick. I'll take her. I'll buy her.
Mind-fucking.
Yeah, all day.
So you had the guilt. You're finally in a place that you want to open. And you want to talk. You want to share. You want to tell people, please save me, get me out of here. And he's guilt-tripping you to not be able to talk.
My mother came with her big tillam, like this big tillam. She said one after the other. She was a stick and she was not eating herself. Her daughter's going through this. Not enough. They finally...
Ich verstehe nicht. Ich bin gewesen ein EMT für ein paar Jahre. Und man hat aufgepickt einen, wie sie hat ausgekickt, wie sie do any type of abuse. Hat man ausgefragt. Und ob sie gewesen ein Minor, ist reingekommen ein Therapist und ihn gefragt. I don't know.
Her in, and my sister, my worst guilt trip is that my sister that passed away, she came laying, she was always a week.
What's the story with your sister? How did she pass away?
I wasn't there at the time, but my brother gave her something by force when she was allergic
He's
to it,
gaslighting her?
and she died in front of her kids.
I don't think so.
On the spot. She's 24. 24 with 5 kids.
And she died in front of them?
Yeah, she came to visit me to the hospital. She used to lay in the hospital bed. She was always very weak. She had like a week. I scheduled a restraining order against my whole family.
When was that? At what age?
I was 12. In the middle of the hospital, and while I was trying to recover, my family kept coming with...
Gemacht hat restraining order. And keiner hat nicht gefragt, für was? Ich weg ein Cops und ich gewinne gut nicht. Something doesn't smell right here. Something doesn't smell.
Homemade foods, and my father brought stuff, and my sister brought stuff.
By the way, was everything to make you quiet? That's the reason why they brought you the stuff?
The hospital was telling my family that I'm going through crazy neglect, and I kept telling them I don't want to go home. In a hospital in Quebec, and it was like one of the top hospitals. They don't want to keep a girl, like a young girl with older people on a feeding tube. They were like, she's ready to go home, and I kept saying I don't want to go home. And how do you explain if a hospital kid doesn't want to go home? Like, so I kept saying my father is hurting me, and out of desperation, I started speaking French. And I spoke to all the therapists over there, and I was telling them stories about my dad, and that's when it stopped.
So you did open up in the hospital. You spoke to nurses. And you gave them all the details. You did tell them that...
Put me in a group home. For 3 years, I was in a group home. The hospital.
So let me try to understand. These nurses from this hospital, you want to tell me they worked with your father?
I was there for 1 year.
Nein. Oh, man. Wenn einer kommt heran in ein Hospital und sagt, kann nicht heimgehen, ein Kind, legt man ihn heran in ein Group Home. So nicht du, wie noch zu legen. Wenn eine Frau hat ein Baby in der Hospital discharged, die hat nicht wie zu gehen, nimmt mir die auch zu ein Group Home. But it's interessant that she had a caseworker, nothing.
They hear from the kid that she's going through terrible abuse. Why didn't they take care of it? Why didn't they report to the government?
I told them, they told me either you're going to a nursing home or you're going home because they didn't have a place. So I told them,
but you didn't tell them, you, like police, something, somebody should get involved, or you didn't try that? Like,
you don't understand how many times my father was trying to get me back. He started saying my baby girl. He came to the window.
Okay.
One day, I was with the whole burqa and stuff, and he was looking. Every time I used to leave, I used to take off all my clothes, just go with pants, and he used to want to watch me from the window. I used to stand there and watch my father leaving because I was scared he sees that I'm taking off my clothes.
Right.
And one of the nurses over there in the group home were extremely nice to me. They saved my life, and they were telling me, oh, you miss your dad. I see you looking in the mirror. I said, I don't miss him. I can't wait for him to leave. They're like, oh, that's so sad.
Right.
Yeah, and then I was so nice. I was like hugging them. The nurses was my home. I didn't have family. They were saving
But
me.
I'm trying to understand again. I tried asking it to you and I didn't understand. If you're telling nurses that you're going through heavy abuse from your father, from your family, whatever, why are they not calling the authorities
Exactly.
and taking care of this and get you out of this place? Child abuse. It's very simple. What you basically is telling, I guess what you're telling that nurse is a lot of child abuse, things that you're going through, sexually regular.
So when I left, it's like 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was 15 years ago, I wasn't
What do
this
you mean?
alone. I was doing this on my own, on my 2 feet.
What do you mean, hack nicht in Kopf? Die Nurse weiß nicht wegen Left Tour. Sie schreibt es heran in der Chart und sie geht heran, ob sie da geht der Hospital, geht es heran zu der Psychiatrist und der Therapist und sie kommen da rup sehen. I don't know.
It's not like
Kennen Sie hat das gewollt projecten? Kennen Sie hat das gewollt teen?
now the whole world.
Everybody knows
The
and
goyim
they're
know from
exposed.
the Guatemala goyim from my husband's work pay money for the Yidden to be saved. Like everyone knows, it's all over TikTok, all over.
Yeah, they're very
Instagram.
known cult.
15 years ago when I left, if I didn't save my life, I would die.
Now it makes it different. I was just trying to understand, and that's why I asked it to you again and again because I wanted to get an answer. Why the fuck
I was
nurses are
doing this
listening to a kid
alone.
saying child abuse? Maybe they thought it's like it's not an answer. If they hear a kid, if any kid is going and crying on
I
child
was the
abuse,
first kid
explaining
that
again.
left. I was the first kid. How
Wow.
it's not like a known thing. I came to New York on my own feet. Like
All the stories that I saw on TV was after you. You were the first one that
I was the
actually
first-
tried to leave the community and you
Yeah.
left. Okay, wow, that's terrible. So after the hospital, what is your life journey? What's going on next? You're finishing the hospital a year later. You felt
I
better.
went to a group home. I was with a lot of girls my age. Didn't have a home, non-Jewish place. It was a lot of fun. I experienced life over there. I went out with them. We had
Where's that in Canada?
Canada. Very nice activities. We had so much fun. I didn't want to go out.
In 3 Uhr, in 3 Uhr, sie haben nicht gut nicht investigated, nothing. I don't know.
I was there till 15, from 12 to 15.
When did you finish like being in touch with your family?
Once I left the hospital and I went to the group home, that's when
That's-
I totally
you've
cut off with my
disconnected.
family. I haven't heard from nobody from my family. They didn't even think they were thinking of me, but didn't have access because my whole entire family, everyone had a restraining order against me.
So, ich kennt mal restraining order. Wo sie gestanden in der restraining order? Abuse? How come man das nicht investigated? How come a cop nicht herbegekommen klappen auf den Tier?
You asked them.
I asked for it. They kept coming and triggering me. I'm like, my sister, my love. I was like, you don't even know me. How am I your sister?
Wow. Okay, so you had restraining orders from everybody. You're in the home from 13 to 15. Slowly, the communication with your family is gone, and you're 15 years old. You want to leave the home. Where are you going?
My mom has a sister in Muncie.
She called up
She picked me up
from where?
from the group home.
From Canada.
From
She came
Canada.
down
She
to
came to Canada to pick me up, and I was wandering from house to house to house. I was alone.
Where did you come to Muncie?
Yeah, I was paying rent at the age of 16. Nobody understood what life tour is. Kind of friend of mine from that country, and
Right.
nobody even wanted to pay me rent. I
Ich meine, sie haben gedacht, reden Jiddisch. Sie hat ein bessere Jiddisch.
had to go to work at 15 years old and pay rent. I was alone. I was not now left to support. Everyone's paying stuff.
So one second, your family that picked you up, were they
They couldn't take care of me because I was having too much trauma. I couldn't be in a
Fine,
house.
but were they understanding at that? We're going back years, right? So
Hold on.
were they understanding at that point that you're not a fault and you're an innocent kid that went through?
Hold on. Sie dort gehen für 3 Uhr. Und jetzt ist sie noch einmal durchgegangen in Trauma?
Fucked up and a very hard life. And
I wasn't-
or they
I
think
don't
your
know.
father's a normal father and you were the crazy
No,
girl.
they think everyone thought when I came to New York that I'm crazy.
So you're the crazy one
I'm
still.
really crazy. I'm a crazy girl that nobody can handle. Like the
Okay, makes sense. Hat alle mal gewiss, weil ich bin ignorant. But the group home, mit den alle Sachen, ich habe gearbeitet in a group home. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm saying there's some type of information. She played it very well as sie hat nicht gewollt reden auf die Tate, so sie hat es gehalten, sei also wie hush hush.
They
kept
didn't
hurting me with my craziness, and I just came out of a box. You take a person out of a cult, you
Obviously.
be like, "Nemsta feigl, nemsta na rosen tvisa, $1 million guy because like you cannot.
Guy
be some-
kakas.
you
You
have
need
to
therapy to slowly
structure-
get into back to
and
life.
I was
To start life actually.
yeah.
Start real life.
Maar
I
sie
worked
gedacht
so
reden
hard to pay
Jiddisch.
my rent and I actually had to pay rent for people to keep me in their house. I was just working and paying rent and being in my room. I didn't come out of my room all my teen years.
Where did you work?
I worked everywhere. A Muncie, I don't even remember. Evergreen, I opened up Evergreen with the managers. I just I'm busy.
First of all,
And then-
you're a brave girl. You have a lot of power in you, and the fact that first of all, you're a survivor. You're a person who survived a terrible, terrible childhood within the hardest cult. I don't know in how many generations this kind of shit is going on, but this is the hardest, one of the hardest stories I ever heard in my life. You're very strong. So first of all, kudos
Yeah.
on this one. You know what I mean? It's very impressive to see you and talking out and.
Agreed
it's very
with
important
them.
to me also, I'm human and I hear you and it breaks my heart to
Because
understand
you
that a
have to know me
person.
in real life. I'm very fond of
I know, and trust me, we're gonna get there too. But I want to tell you that I'm very, very emotional about this whole story because it's like no kid should go through a childhood that you went through. But what I'm saying is just continue staying strong. You're a very good person. I can see it.
I wanted to mention something important that I fought my father the whole time since I was like 10 years old and I did all this karma for him.
Right.
And I made sure he doesn't contact me again. And after I came to New York, after I finished working, I found a partner on Facebook.
Okay.
And I was still within the trauma and I was forced into this marriage. We both were traumatized. Two traumatized people meeting each other was hell.
When was that?
It was when I was 18.
So it
I
was
worked
also,
for a little bit.
Okay, it was also an arranged marriage.
Was arranged
Which we
marriage
did.
with a force. Das hat mir aber geheißen, als ob ich Chassanom, I don't know what the fuck it is. I was like, I wasn't
Which
from.
rabbi?
As Rabbi Yoel.
No, Abiel wasn't alive.
Whoa. Rabbi Yoel.
Nish Yoel, I don't know what I'm saying.
No, alive.
Daroni.
Daroni.
What did I say? So after I got married, I had
Gib mal sag, schieß heraus an Nummer von der Rebbe, was lebt nicht. So who knows was is Emmas and was nicht? It's getting all kamish-kababbled.
the first few years, I didn't healed. I didn't come to agreement. I didn't have kids yet. It was very hard. Kept thinking all the time that I want to contact my father because I kept feeling like he's going to die. And I had this feeling like he's going to die.
Why did you want to talk to your father? Closure?
I wanted closure. I felt like his unfinished business is killing me. Every Friday, I had such a hard Fridays because I knew that he's available to talk and I couldn't call him. And
Why couldn't you
I
call
told him when I got married, I told him I want to get married, I'm calling you. He hung up the phone. I invited him to my wedding, he hung up the phone. I called him during my wedding, he hung up the phone. I kept trying to call him and I kept feeling like I want to make peace with
Noch a so viel abuse. Sie kommt noch alt.
him. And
Why did you feel that? After he did, I mean, I understand. I just tried to say what
because I
you.
know, I'm smart enough to know that when you have really unfinished business with a person and then he suddenly dies, which tragic, your whole life, you're never going to recover. Rather the person's right or wrong, just make peace with it because your whole life you're going to be wondering.
When you're saying peace, you mean you wanted to challenge him, or you wanted just to tell me, listen, Father, you did to me a lot of bad things or whatever. I just want to forgive you, and or you was expecting to him.
I wanted
What
him
did
to
you
tell
want?
me that he's proud of me. I still didn't give up.
You still wanted to get out of compliment of your father.
Proud of what?
I
I ken dich
Look how
nicht.
strong this thing, first of all, between a father and a daughter, it doesn't matter what he did to you, and you're 20 years old, 18 years old, and you left everything, you still want to get love from your father. You want your father to tell you, Neo, I'm proud of you.
I wanted to tell him that I'm not eating all the junk and I'm trying to follow a little bit what I grew up with. I just wanted to make him proud. And he kept hanging up the phone. And one Friday, I went to my neighbor and on the way home, my cousin calls me. I was in the middle of walking. And my head stayed like this. For 2 years, I couldn't move my head because it felt like my sister passed away. She was always sick. She was a sick person.
That was casually, and you wanted that closure.
Kept saying, bow, 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 bow. And he died in such a sudden shock. It was like, he was healthy, everything was fine.
How old was he when he died?
49.
Young.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that 50 maybe, maximum 50.
How did he die?
He drowned in
Nice.
the Mexico River.
Really?
Yeah, it took me 2 years to recover from just being the shock of it. Like, just to be able to move my head as like a physical injury.
And you took it how? What was
I
the
didn't
feeling?
take it hard, it was just a shock. When my sister passed away 2 weeks later, it was hurting me, but she was always sick. Like,
Right,
if
you
you
know
know
it's gonna-
somebody is dying, eventually they're going to die.
Right.
But if a healthy, it's like so much unfinished business with a person. And then I healed from that. I constantly kept looking for other outlets in my life, and I was never satisfied. I feel like I'm going to stay down. Like, this is the part where I'm stuck.
First of all, I don't think you're going to stay down. So obviously you went through something that I don't wish anybody to go through. But I really believe.
Sie darf gar nicht
in
in
you, and I
major
believe that
therapy.
There's a way out. Look how strong you are. Look, you're sitting over here talking, opening up, saying stories that nobody has the balls to sit on camera and discuss it. So that means already the fact that you're ready to talk to me and you were happy. When I came to you, you told me, I'm very excited. I want to talk to you. I want to give it out. That means you're on the way out of your trauma. Mr. Shan, you will be out of it.
I just have these like toxic attachments to people that are hurting me and constantly telling me that I'm not good enough. I'm just seeking out such people because I'm
not the right authority. Like I can't give you good. Like I can just tell you what I think, and I hope I'm wishing you to get out of these people. Whoever puts you down, they'll just leave them. Get them. You don't need
Exactly.
to.
like,
People
when
pick you
somebody
up, tell
tells
you
me
how
I'm not
good
good
you
enough,
are.
I find it hard. Like, it's my language. Like, talk to me.
So this is not hard. This is very disappointing for me to hear that because you're a very pretty girl and a good girl, and you have a kind. You're beautiful. There's nothing like bad in you that somebody should put you down and tell you that you're not good enough or something like that. So you will be out of it. This is very.
I never opened up to anyone. I felt like nobody's the right person, but I'm happy. I hope it's.
We're still not done. I have no.
Schkoyach, fahren sich öffnen. I really do appreciate it. Als Traumas darf man emesdig sagen. Man darf schon wasen Leid auf Traumas.
For you. So I want to continue going on this call because
In a filler nur 25% is Emmas, wo sie sucht. A filler nur is as horrible. I'm just saying.
you have a lot of information that people are seeking. People want to know what.
So die Menschen versuchen, na, es ist nicht in ganzen Emmas. Es ist nicht in ganzen Emmas. Es ist nicht in jede Detail is Emmas. But ich frage mich heibig, could it happen? If the answer is yes, I'm going to bet money that it did happen.
going on. So after the cult moved from Canada, okay, where was the first place that they went? After
I didn't
Canada?
go with them.
I know you went there.
Good.
You told me. I'm just trying to understand because you know first.
I know that they went like to nine places from country to country to country.
So at this point, you have no like connections. in this cult
10%
anymore,
is
you're
too
completely
much,
disconnected.
Brooklyn.
I don't want to damage
Agreed.
my life following something that I
No,
went.
I
When I
understand.
left all the Canada behind, and I'm like, I'm leaving. I came to New York. I collected my life. I healed from a lot of things, and I said, I'm leaving what's past in the past. Because if I'm constantly running after the past, I'm never gonna finish. I left because I wanted to leave, not because I wanted to constantly join their news. I'm not following up with anything. I'm not interested.
Good.
It's my family, it's my nieces and nephews, but I cannot help them. Should I kill myself? I try to save my life. Should I break my life saving something that I can't even help? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
So after your father passed away, who took over? Like what brother? The oldest brother?
I have a brother, oldest brother. He's like in his high 40s, 50s.
Okay.
And then he took my father passed away. My oldest sister left, and he kidnapped my sister's 2 oldest kids. And
Slowly, please. I want to focus on this one once again.
so my guy
Summary of the conversation. Sie ist a left tour Hellbrands Tochter. Sie nur gewesen in Canada. Hat ihr abused sexually, mentally, physically. Sie sucht ein paar Sachen, also hin und zurück, was macht nicht keinen Sinn, but nicht kein challenging Sachen, nicht als Event up anything. Und sie öffnet sich auf der ersten Monat in life. Und ja, du halt mir uns. Und jetzt halt man du bei der Masse, als sein Muffen zu Guatemala und der Brüder. Sein Tate gestorben in PNG. Hello and welcome. Tate gestorben, Hellbrand gestorben in a lake, he drowned. Thank goodness. And ältere Brüder hat begonnen.
von einer cult, macht mich sure the suffers. Yeah, it took me so many years.
Exactly, MCTS. Und nicht so, wie ich sage, als sie sucht liegend, aber sie hat das Sachinformation mischgebabbelt, es macht Sinn. So, also wie Brooklyn sagt, da vielleicht noch 10%, is es terrible.
To go out.
Right.
So my oldest sister, she wanted to leave. So my oldest brother took her 2 kids, ran from country to country, hiding from the government with masks and outfits. You remember the story?
Yes.
So-
The Friday night kidnapping?
He was,
Monroe.
yeah, I don't even know where it was.
I think it was in Monroe.
So
Yeah.
he's arrested for the kidnapping.
That's
Good.
insane, these stories.
It's his own. My sister had to arrest her own brother.
That's fucked up. I don't think people know
Excellent.
this, by the way. I know the people
I'm
that
so
left
proud
her.
of my sister. I'm so she didn't
Obviously.
see that at home. I was dumped in the dump. My mother couldn't. My mom was too weak. She was breaking everyone's windows, but like she
That's right.
couldn't arrest my father. She couldn't
Right.
call the cops. Like it's the next level. It's strength from a mother
Obviously.
that grows up in a cult to
Yes.
stick up for her kids. Like that's not what they
So
see.
your sister,
I'm
wow,
proud
your
of
sister's
her.
a strong one.
Yeah, very proud.
Okay,
of her.
and they put him in prison?
They put him for life. He not only
Nice.
that now in prison he's doing a lot of troubles. Now they put him in a box.
Really?
Yeah.
Good, good. Ja, mit dem angelegt, weil pflegt noch halt schicken Messages zu the leaders. Ich hoffe, rat. Ich hoffe, man wagt ihm wie ein Doggy. Also wie gesagt, weiß gesagt, dass sag mal nehmen sie Menschen und sie wacken ihm wie Doggies. Ich hoffe, man tut das ihm jeden Tag.
Stop
Where
me in the
prison?
box.
In the U-
turn
like
me
in the US, I guess.
Yeah, in Westchester.
Westchester. You feel bad for
I
him?
don't even want people to tell me brother because
You don't
I
consider
don't like people having a vision that I have such a family. I don't consider myself. All what I'm saying is not my family.
Makes
already-
sense.
Happens to be, you grew up there, you know that it's your
It's
family.
blood. It's blood, but I
Sie
never
will sich
followed the law. I
detachen.
never played with the bullshit. And when I was told my father I'm done, that's what I was done. And I stopped it and I made a life
No.
of these people. So für Juden gar noch mich gassen. Like I was done.
David, absolutely nicht. A die panikst a zweiter Mensch. Die bist a cult leader, darf man das dienen zu der jeden Tag wacken wie a Doggy in der Jail.
I don't play. If they tell me
No.
strip, take off your
Ich weiß nicht, ich kann ihm gehen visiten. I would say ich refuse to him gehen visiten. Soll actually laden. One of the things was my guy visiten a Mensch in jail is as only Jean in the jail. Once is in the visiting center, is safe. Safer, you know. Will ich soll feeling safe.
all your burqa right now, or I'm taking it off. I'm burning it. I was never the type to go crazy with
Because you were
anything.
strong. You know that you have dozens, if not hundreds of families.
What do you
living
say
in
on
this
Nachi Yavo? So far sei gut. Sei gut. Sei besetzen, sei ruhig, confident, fragt gute Kasches. He's good.
And they follow because they're not enough.
No, but like I don't understand how
Is dat met Jean David op dezelfde page?
that's so extreme. Like when they told me it's either this or this, I choose this. I leave. I burn. I this. But I don't understand why in life I'm still stuck on certain things, and I take things so personal because if I took the strength to
Leave.
take the fucking burqa and burn it down when I left, I made a big fire and I
Really?
burned it.
Talk about it. I want to hear about it.
After I
What
left
was the feeling? How was it?
was
Like you
very
wear this, whatever you call it?
burqa, I don't know what it is.
You wore that burqa for years of years, and then when you left, you decided on making a fire?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I left, I didn't oh YIDDISH card. I opened my zipper. People in Monty was like, I had like a top with a zipper.
Okay.
The Hasidic top that goes with
Right.
the zipper, and I used to open it till the bottom and be like, people was, and I walked in the vision. It's coming. They were like, close. I was like, I know.
You're like, you were just going to
I was just like, no, I know.
I
This is mission. I know. And
I
like,
still want to do it.
I never felt how extreme bullshit can go. Like they are so extreme right now on a level that's not human. It's vicious. It's not Kid Hashem. It's terrible. It's like
It's like it's child abuse, it's sexual
the
abuse.
woman sitting on the street. You saw? You didn't see the latest news. I'm happy
I did see. No, I did see something like a few weeks ago that they came down and they busted the whole thing. They took all the kids and I don't know, but I think they got.
I don't even want to watch it because I'm still human and it really hurts me to see. But I'm not considering myself part of this family. This
Say
is
it.
what they do for me. Dumped me in the street at 4, left me from wandering from house to house and struggle. Like I know it hurts me and I'm trying to.
Let's talk about. We want us to go back to when you were there and what you remember and if you know about it and things maybe you heard from others. What is this story about Malchus? Is this true that they used to put? I don't know for what reason they used to punish and take the guys, I guess, and give Malchus 40 times. You know this Malchus?
They used to take the boys and take off their clothes and put them on a table in front of the class and hit them naked.
Butt naked?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
could an 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid do that the teacher of the class should strip you down naked? Like,
I don't even know.
so you don't know about Malchus? You never heard about it?
I did. I
So
did.
what is it true?
Yes.
I'm asking you.
I got Malchus. I got taken off all my layers and beat. I was telling you, they hit people left and right, day and night. Rather you did something wrong. Like you can just wake up and they just take you and hit. Like they treat people with no emotion.
What's the idea of taking innocent kids?
Ze
and bring
brechen.
them-
Nachi, ze zerbrechen. Die zerbrech sei, kennen ze gut stehen.
My other question is, I sin a lot, but I know that God wants me to be happy. God wants me to suffer, or God wants me. I believe that God wants me to be happy, and if that's what makes me happy, I should do it because I feel like I've lived through hell already.
Right.
And I got.
No, let me tell you one thing.
Oh,
you
she
know,
went-
nobody in the world has the right to judge you. You know, you went through enough that you should know what's good for you at this point.
I
You
don't,
should
I don't
choose your
believe in
life.
religion. I don't believe. I just
Okay,
be a good
that's fine.
person, be happy, live your life. You want to make a Shabbat meal, celebrate
Do it.
Shabbat. Celebrate Shabbat. You don't have to
No
religious
idea.
Shabbat.
That's
That's
what you feel.
the
That's
other-
totally fine.
I
and
feel
nobody
like
should.
if I want to get it too,
She
I get
looks
it
like
too.
a father.
It's nobody's business,
Right.
and God wants you to be happy. I don't believe that God
She looks like a father. Don't tell her that.
wants you to suffer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I believe in God, but I don't believe that what they're doing has anything to do with God, and that's again.
Es ist funny, wie sie sagt, dass sie believed in God, but nicht wo sie tun. Der andere hat gehad derselbe Levi, der von Canada. Hat derselbe, gehad derselbe mean Weg von Trachten.
God's will,
Interesting.
like you're hurting people, and
You think that the amount of physical pain, physical abuse that was there in talking in terms of hitting the kids and beating up, whatever stuff like that, was the sexual abuse in this community, in this cult, at the same level? you say there was a lot of sexual abuse going on between
Like
boys and
Tira
I've heard,
Carter?
I've heard, yeah.
A lot. Do you know if your sisters or other people, also got...
Ich weiß nicht, in der Karte ist als Sam mean cult, also wie dem. Then ich han jagt, but ich weiß nicht. No, I don't think so, Brooklyn. It's different. It's a different cult. Ich meine, als wie heißt der, in der Karte darf watschen, weil hat das auch hate von der eigenen Community. Ich rede von der Chassidim, von den Jiden. So darf watschen.
Sexually assaulted?
I was never in touch with my family, any of my family members. I got to know them now after 27 years.
And you guys are talking now?
We're talking, but we
Oh,
we
she's
don't,
27.
They don't know anything about me. They don't know that I'm not religious. My mom thinks I'm a Rebbetzin.
Really?
I don't share with my family a single
Where
word.
is she now?
She's in Bar Park.
Oh, she lives in New York.
I don't share with my mom a word. I don't share with my siblings a word. In general, I'm a very private person. Nobody knows me on a personal level.
Jetzt jeder geht wissen.
So I do my own thing. I don't need nobody.
Well, I contacted you and told you, listen, Neo, I want to talk to you. I have a podcast, and I would love for you to come over. And what made you feel to be like, okay, I'm ready to come and open? Because I spoke to you on the phone before. We spoke a long time, and I wanted to make sure that you feel comfortable. You know where you're coming and what we're doing, and it's going to be posted, and people are going to talk about it and whatever. And he said, Nachi, I'm ready. I want to fucking talk. It's my
Nice.
first time. I have
Yes.
hundreds of messages from news channels from Israel and from New York and from all over the place. Then I never felt comfortable to open. What happened that you felt so, when I contacted you this time, I guess I was lucky because I know a lot of people want to talk to you and want to hear the story. What happened now that you feel that
Rate
you are
in
able to
welcher
talk?
Weg?
What changed in the last,
My whole life I've been running away from my past, constantly running away. And lately, what's going on left over, people are really bashing me with questions, and I always ignore the questions. I make believe like I don't even get it.
Right.
And I've been personally what I'm dealing with is a lot of attachment issues to toxicity because of my childhood. I like negative.
shit.
I like negative. I like to be hurt. I like pain. I enjoy pain because I'm used to it.
Right.
So
This is sehr open-minded von ihr. I must say, sie hat lieb negativity and sie hat lieb pain. Wow. Crazy. Jack, ich kann nicht raten am Idol of her looks. All right?
I've been fighting with somebody back and forth
Stop
with two
it.
people, and the last few days I decided I'm done fighting with them, and let me just find another activity. I couldn't find what to do. I work for myself, so I couldn't find what to do. I don't want to go work full time. I wanted stimulating something to keep me busy, so I decided, okay, I think it's time. I want to cut off with this toxic
Yes.
people. I want to stop hurting myself, and I want to open up.
Weil sie ist sie gewohnt, die Brain ist sie gewohnt zu sein depressed. Einer, was ist depressed, ich suche eibig, ich try zu suchen eibig, der Tag, wo es die, hast du kein Choice, dann Chemicals in den Kopf sucht, so sein, bekackt oder depressed. But noch dem du Tag, wo die kannst choosen, wo die will sein, but die choose sie sein bekackt, because der letzte pur Tag, bist du gewinn bekackt, und das ist, wo die bist sie gewohnt. So, it makes sense.
Why I'm really
Das sagt
I
Arbeit
couldn't open
auf
up on
sich
my page because like suddenly like
what do you think about your father's legacy? What he left on this world and how people look at him and his history? What do you feel about it?
I feel like it's a very big shame because a lot of
Yes.
people were hurt,
A lot of people are still being hurt.
and it's I don't
Do you
understand.
think it became worse in the last, like, since your father died?
Of course.
My father, no matter what he did, he was a very like when you talk to him, it's like a malam.
Yeah, but this is part of the abuse. The fact that your father could be a normal person, have a normal conversation.
No, but like if he'd see this woman on the street, he would pick them up. He would tell them it's not like he's a little prestige. They mentioned that they're garbage.
Right.
They're dirty people.
But who
My father was
trained them to be like that, though? Don't
There's
forget this.
neglect. There's so much. I'm trying to understand how it got so bad. How a
Right.
person would fall to kill their life like this. Like even these people are gonna come out. They're gonna be damaged for life. And I'm so proud that I saved my life. And the moment I saw that he's playing with me, I took my life and I was like, I'm done. And when I left, and I
This story that you did, that literally tried, I don't know,
I was
telling
10 years
about,
old.
you did something when you were 10 years old that you didn't even know how far it's going to take you, because all what happened is you went to the hospital and then you were there for a year and then you went to,
also,
basically this is the way out.
I also took 2 bottles. You know, Senecats.
Okay.
You know what it is? It's like a very strong laxative. And I wanted to have episodes for them to shock me. So I had a sleeping episode and in the stomach. They kept thinking I was sick because I took a lot of excessive pills to feel sick, to
Right.
get into the hospital.
Were you
Nothing
not
was
afraid of
missing.
dying?
I felt like this is not working. Let me try something else. If I'm dying in the process, I'm going to die anyway.
You didn't give a shit.
I knew that it's
So
not that I
technically,
didn't give a shit.
you took a chance.
It's either
You were a kid, but you-
this way I'm dying. Let me try. This might work. It might not work. But it's worth to take a chance because the other way would definitely die. You know, not taking the risk, I would die faster.
What does it make you feel talking about your father like that? How do you
I
feel?
feel like I'm talking nibble pair.
There was a sense.
Wow, ich darf das rewinden. Ich mache regular speed. Kiki body language. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Like that. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm talking nibble pair.
What a true feeling. What a true feeling.
There was a sensitive question I was afraid to ask, and I was thinking, but I was like, okay, I still want to ask her how she feels about it.
What a
You
good
took
question.
a little pen. That was too funny. I gotta give it to you. But no, like,
Wow,
I
wow.
was saying
That was very interesting. Very open-minded in their parts.
No, but it's not nipple pad. We're talking about, I see you are powerful. You have so much koyach in yourself. And I'm trying to understand, when you talk about your father, and you spoke a lot of shit your father did, okay, which is totally fine. Again, I'm telling you that after
Not
this, when
only
you come out,
fine.
people are going to see the story, nobody will judge you, I promise you.
Eh?
I know you're afraid. You told me about it. It was going to be people are going to say,
No, I'm not worried about people.
By the way, judging is nicht kein terrible Sach. Action of the judging. Du kannst judgen, wo du willst. Schon mal misjudge das Step und das geht mal so ein kleiner Step, so der weigert in den Rücken. You know what I mean? Judging is fine, or acting on the judging. Wow, ziemlich
people
gemacht.
think about my father. I'm worried that my siblings are gonna
not
be
gonna
like,
like
you're against your own father. So
not-
Good. Yes, you should be against. Absolutely.
Your father is you know,
he was so good at playing with my brain that
played with
Exactly. And he died like a dog.
I'm
the fact that
constantly
they
Good.
I feel like I want somebody to fuck my brain. Like
Right.
I need the stimulation. I don't feel ordinary if I don't have it. Like I want somebody to keep me busy, like keep my brain busy.
It makes sense. Makes sense. Weiß nicht, wieso man ist ruhig. Dasselbe sagt, wenn ein Mensch arbeitet 50, 60 Jahre, 20 Stunden am Tag, jetzt kann er nicht beruhigen. Er kann nicht jetzt gar nicht relaxen. He's been doing that for 30, 40 years. Dasselbe sagt sie. Es gab so viel Stimulation mit so viel Kopfweh, als sie müssen es haben.
I'm not used to living regular, you know.
wow.
Makes sense.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, the strength that you have in yourself is very impressive. And I think everybody watching us are going to be very impressed of your life. And what are you doing today? Like, what are you up to? You're married? You have kids? Or you don't want to discuss it? That's fine too. We're going to respect that. No discussions about this?
No.
Got you. All right.
Hi guys, thank you so much for watching the video. It took a lot of strength for me to express
Yes.
and to tell you about my past. It was quite hard for me, but I did it. I know you all been waiting so long, and I want to encourage you guys to be strong and believe in yourself, even though it's hard. I personally said the full truth with no lies, and it's pure from my heart. I didn't intend to hurt my father, and didn't intend to hurt my mom or my siblings, and I hope they're not gonna get offended. But,
Hey,
be
hey,
respectful of the
verämpfe
video
dich
and enjoy
nicht.
it, and it's
Who cares if they get offended? Who cares? Man darf stoppen abuse. What is this? What is this?
here to encourage you to be a good, strong person. And in real life, I'm really funny, so you get to know me at a different time. But I'm not that serious. I'm not that emotional.
Khalib the end. Khalib the end, sag it. Okay, I definitely gave my like the video. Man darf highlighten abuse, especially as Echemina, especially left to it. Man darf sie rausnehmen. Darf sie arresten. Ich hoffe, der Leader sterben. Just as wie der erste Leader. Nothing is next. Man geht. Read some comments. I think this is the most honest, transparent interview I've heard in a long time. Thank you for sharing. She needs to believe and how the whole world is behind her. Yes, the Oilam is behind her. This woman is incredibly strong, so authentic. Thank you for so much for sharing your story. Exactly. Thank you for sharing. Kudos. My heart pumps very fast during the whole conversation. Yes. Mensen al wissen, was my guy daughter, they cult leaders. Crazy. Alright, Gevre. Und sind wir schon durch für eine Weile. Jetzt darf man gehen. Darf sich scheiden. Es ist kein Mann nicht easy. Ich will geben Schkoich für jeder eine, was ist du gewesen? Für eine lange Zeit, für eine kurze Zeit, für eine ganze Zeit. I really do appreciate it. Schkoich für alle Likers, Sharers, Subscribers, Commenters. Für alle Members. Schkoich Brooklyn für ein Giften. Memberships. I really do appreciate it. Housekeeping. Hand Nacht, and ich du kann live. Thank you, Jack. Sind ich du kann live Hand Nacht. As of now, I have a gig, so we won't be going live. All right, everybody. It has been a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Gewalt zogen. Be kind to one another. See you on the next one. Peace. Thank you. Thank you all.